Hello and welcome to the KEPRS training videos. This is the first video in a session of about, maybe 10 or 12 videos that we'll be making, training on the different modules of the KEPRS system. First, an introduction to a couple of the lingo that we use. We are a division of the Office of OELE, which is the Office of Education, Licensure, and Effectiveness. There is a division of Educator Preparation that oversees and audits a lot of the program prep programs across the state. And this is the KEPRS system, which stands for the Kentucky Educator Program Review System. The key contacts relative to these systems and the training will be Allison Bell, and I have her email address and phone number along with Rich Miller, that's myself, and with my phone number as well. These modules will cover a variety of topics. This first one will just be the introduction and overview. We will cover all of the modules in succession. And again, here is the contact information. The purpose of the overall KEPRS system was to be a collection of all the detailed information about all of your programs. So that includes overall information about your institution as a provider, your educator programs, all of the courses and the associated curriculum, your clinical educators, the assessments, and then of course how everything aligns with the standards. These then get reviewed and there is a decision to approve either a continued approval or a new program approval that allows you to begin to do admissions of your candidates into these programs. And a lot of this information is going to be reused at some point when your institution goes for an accreditation, either through CAPE or through a statewide process. So let me start off by going to the initial sign-on screen. So when you get into your browser, the first thing that you'll want to do is to go to the website, and this is very short and fairly easy, is epsb.ky.gov. And when you go to that site, you'll get a screen that looks like this. And this is the EPSB landing page. There's lots of information here. It talks about the different offices and the divisions and what they do and how they operate. And then there's some quick drop-down shortcuts and links across the top. And then in order to log into the KEPRS system, you will need to have an EPSB account. So when you click on the EPSB account, it allows you to key in with your username and password. I'm going to use my particular username and my password to log in. If you don't have an EPSB user ID and login, you'll need to create a new account. And that's just below the area where I'm currently doing the sign-in. There's a slide deck over here that walks you through step by step. It's really not too difficult. I would encourage you to go ahead and try to create your user ID without going through the slide deck, but it is there for more information if you need it. Once you log in, you will then get this is your specific EPSB landing page with all of the applications and the capabilities that you might have permissions or rights to use. The KEPRS system is in this left-hand column close to the bottom, and once you click on KEPRS, it takes you to the KEPRS landing page. So there are a few initial screens that you have to go through in order to get started with KEPRS, but this is the first functional page for KEPRS where you would begin to do your work. Now this is currently a production system, so there's information here that we really don't want to share with everyone at this time. I do have a test system, which is very similar, and I can log into that system, begin my KEPRS functions, and I see the same modules, only these do not have production data. This has test data that we can view. So again, when you log in, you will get this main screen from KEPRS, and there are functions here that I'll just describe as an overview. There, if you hover with your mouse over the home key, there are modules called profiles, contacts, permissions, a new program request, submit a review request, and program closure. Under the design of each of your educator programs, we've got courses, clinical educators or faculty, assessments, responses, and then a place where you can attach some additional supporting documents. And then as an overall review process, we've got something called the program inventory, where you can look at all of this data when it's grouped together under a particular category. Then we'd also have a reporting function. And right now I'll just mention the audit reports, and we'll go through that in the other modules. So let me take you to the first module, which is called the EPP profile or IHE profile. And we'll start that particular module. And there are a series of questions and narratives that it will ask you to key in information into the system. Now, I've already done a cut and paste from a particular website. I think I used EKU as an example, and this was on their public website, so I'm not sharing any secrets here. And this is just a narrative, and it's asking for the mission of the institution. Now, when you see any one of these narratives without much more information around it, this is purely looking for a narrative and text. No special characters, no images, no tables and things like that, just a narrative. Also, you'll notice here in the bottom right, these three little lines indicate that you can grab that particular window and you can move it around. So you do a drag and drop. If it's easier for you to read this in a narrow column, then you can adjust that to whatever you like. When you're done with your narrative, you say save and go to the next, which is for the educator prep provider overview. Now, these questions also appear in your CAPE self-study. It asks for the context and unique characteristics of your EPP, a description of organizational structure, vision, mission, and goals, and EPP shared values. So again, these are purely narrative boxes. I have to say key in data here also, key in data. And these are required fields. So if I were to try to advance, it would tell me I have to key in data. So now I'm keying in data. And you'll have 4,000 characters, up to 4,000 characters in each one of these narrative boxes to put in your information. When you're satisfied with the information that you have on the screen, you can say save, and it takes you to clinical partnerships. And so there's a question up here as to what it is you're supposed to be keying in. And again, I'll encourage you that if you've got information already out there on a website somewhere, just do a cut and paste from those particular areas. And I'm just trying to get some additional text here. So I'm just going to take this abstract, Institute of Medicine, Carnegie Mellon, blah, 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 and I'll go back to my narrative. And I can cut and paste that information just like that. So you don't have to be creating new text or new narrative from scratch. You can copy it from a Word document, you can copy it from a website, and then when you're done with that particular section, you go to Save Next, and it goes to the quality assurance system. And I'm assuming you probably have some sort of a quality assurance system already in place. And again, I'm just looking for some text that I can cut and paste into the narrative. I think I'll steal it from the previous page. Let me take it from right here. And again, you've got about 4,000 characters of information that you can key in. I didn't copy it. I'll just overlay it. There we go. You've got about 4,000 characters that you can key in, and that should be plenty. Let me move on to the next field, save and go to optional fields. They've got a couple of optional descriptions in here. If I could spell. And when you're done, you say save and done. And that completes the overview and profile. There's really not that many questions. It's a simple narrative and response. And then when you're done, you can go back to your KEPRS main menu, and it takes you back to where you started from. So from an overview standpoint, that's the first module. That's how you get signed in. We went to the epsb.ky.gov page. You had to key in a user ID and your password. Then you got to this KEPRS landing page and you started with the first module. And that completes our first module.